next topic, guys, the future jobs in manufacturing. So again,
This is a big one.
Yeah. So this
Oh,
is.
I like micro.
That's with my buddy Mike.
Yeah.
I don't think I know Mike.
Really?
Road Dirty Jobs? You never watched Dirty Jobs?
Come
Big.
on.
No.
Where you
We got
live under the rock?
7.2 million
I
men
am late to
who
the
are not
shoot.
participating in the workforce, not looking for work. We got $1.7 trillion in student loans on the books. We got 7.6 million open positions that don't require a four-year degree. And yet, we keep lending money we don't have to kids who are never going to be able to pay it back to train them for jobs that don't exist anymore. If we want to close the skills gap, we got to make a more persuasive case for millions of good jobs that nobody knows about and nobody understands. These are six-figure jobs or opportunities that lead straight to a six-figure career. They're everywhere. And if we don't reinvigorate the trades, I'm afraid the president's best efforts to bring manufacturing back to these shores is going to run into a real roadblock. We need an enthused workforce, skilled for the jobs that are out there.
Yeah, well said. As I was saying.
Yep. Fantastic.
Yeah. So,
Go ahead, guys.
yeah. So, I mean, this, like, yeah, you got to have a trained workforce, right?
An interested workforce.
Interested, trained workforce.
And maybe AI can, in some instances,
Well-
and automation help get kids interested, like we just saw from the last one.
I don't think he was alluding to just AI. I mean, just
Right.
an
Yes,
enthusiastic
of course.
workforce. Because, obviously we know this from the manufacturing side. Skilled trades are, that's kind of a dying industry.
Yeah.
Not just skilled trades, good skilled trades.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. I guess it's not necessarily a dying industry, but it's an industry of in need, right? We don't have enough plumbers. We don't have enough electricians. We don't have enough technicians and
true.
mechanics,
True.
right? So those jobs with AI aren't. We don't see. And
It's
for now
lack
going
of
anywhere,
it's a
right?
lack of resource industry. There's enough work for it. There's enough for next, I don't know, 100 years. I don't care how good the robots get. I don't think they can come and fix your toilet. So,
Unless they get these humanoids going in the
Well,
next 10 to 15 years.
yeah,
we'll
but-
see.
Does that open up the market to get, I guess you say, foreign workers to help in those areas just because they have the skill sets, and that skill set is not here in the U.S.
That's usually what the backfill is, right? I mean, that's a lot of times what the backfill is. But it's, again, keeping people and kids, especially in my opinion, interested. I mean, VOED Tech School in high school, getting more hands-on stuff with robots in high school, that kind of thing would be super beneficial.
So even there's a job that's being done by robot or whatever, but there's still somebody, robot doesn't. You just don't put a robot in and tell them like, hey, do this, right? Somebody need to train this. Somebody need to make sure that robot is programmed to a perfection to the quality of the part. Is that quality of the part is, what we needed. So somebody need to have that skill set, to have that knowledge. It could be in a whole different, even robot cutting with a laser, but who's checking the quality?
Yeah.
And I think you and I have talked about this too before, is training, right? We don't upskill our employees.
Well,
Training
a lot
is
of
the
training
biggest.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. And I think what Mike was alluding to here is more in, reshaping education so it fits the industry needs, and
the evolving industry needs.
yeah,
Yeah.
and there's, I guess you say there is some stuff that's happening. For example, like FIRST Robotics, that has been a real piquing interest for teaching young men and women how to.
I wish we would have had that when I was in school.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's so cool.
That is one of the things, and I see more and more of these robot competitions. Right, kids are there's a leagues, there's groups, there's statewide, international wide. There's all these robotic groups, and I only remember watching robots. It was on the TV. What was that show?
Robot Wars.
Robot Wars, right?
Yeah.
Where they're crashing robots. That's the only point. And those things are that's a stepping stone, right?
But
So-
even that though, have you seen? Because I don't know if I have any PLC classes for college students, really. I mean,
I-
there's some systems engineering.
There
but
is
are
now.
they starting to move into that? Because when I was in school, there really wasn't. There really wasn't the big major. When you go here, you're going to learn to code. You're going to learn PLC programming. You're going to learn
Well,
ladder logic,
So-
DCS, all this stuff.
So I guess if even if they were maybe let's for instance say there were some programs, were they advertised properly, right? Mm-hmm. Are those advertised to the kids target and showing them like what is the potential good to learn this program? Everybody says become a doctor, right? Because they have a really good advertising, to become a doctor.
Yeah.
What was the advertising? They say it's like you'll get paid good, you'll be rich driving this car and this house.
Nice Mercedes, big
Right,
house.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that's a good
that's
point.
advertising. Why can't we do a similar pitch for PLC programmer, welder, plumber, for and instead of having them, nothing against Micro, like being a part of dirty jobs, and or actually maybe good for Micro because he highlighting how these
Jobs pay well.
so-called dirty jobs are paying
Paying
six
pretty
figures.
well. Yeah. Man, there's so much to unpack there.
It
But,
is.
Well,
We can talk for hours and
Yeah.
and I don't know who's
Well,
gonna be watching
I
it for
think-
hours, but
well, one thing I want to, I guess, just say go back to First Robotics. I'm curious. Have you guys ever judged one? Been a judge for it?
for
First Robotics?
Never.
No, it's okay if you haven't.
No.
What I'm alluding to is that I've done it for the past couple of years. They
Cool.
hold the state championship at Saginaw Valley State University, which is my alumni. That's why I'm wearing the red today.
This is why you do it.
Yeah. So, anyways, what I'm alluding to is that they're not just learning, how to put a robot together. They actually have other skill sets that they bring into play, like marketing, like
Leadership,
budgeting,
team. Yeah.
getting,
Yeah,
learning
'cause you
how
gotta
to
finance
pitch.
Organizing.
it. Yeah.
Well, another one I didn't really realize till I started judging is that they actually will go to different manufacturing companies and pitch to get funding for their
Wow.
high school, junior high, etc. Now, some of the schools have greater advantages versus others. Like for example, I think like a school in Troy would be able to have definitely more companies they could pitch to and be able to get more money versus a school up in the UP
Yeah.
in Michigan, which is, for the audience perspective, Upper Peninsula. There's a portion of Michigan. Sorry, the hand. There's a portion up here. There's kids that actually make it up here, but they don't have as many opportunities to
Yeah.
get funding. So
Yeah, I see what your point up, but I think tech companies like when I mentioned Traverse City, right? So tech companies are moving that way, and they're kind of noticing that because there's a good amount of recruits that go in the military from up north. The reason they do that is lack of opportunities, but they have a commitment, right? They want to commit, so they don't have the commitment issue. They just lack of opportunity.
yeah,
So when those military personnel, when they come back and they see no opportunity around them, so they move out. But I think it would be, I don't know, my idea would be and if when those personnel, when they're returned to their homes, and if they start something, but if the infrastructure, but I do see there's a couple of programs within Michigan. They're actually promoting. They go all the way up north to promote these founders networking, tech networking. So there is a push, but we need to make sure like everybody is involved, not just the main downtowns or main hubs of
easy
state.
areas.
Yeah, the easy. I'll call it easy targets, right?
Yeah.
Not just that, because the people who
It's
are
hard. It's hard when half the population of the state lives in this Metro Detroit area too, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And there's so many resources right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think maybe small towns, they need to start cater that way. They because there's resources available, and again, that's gonna be the mindset. Mindset of the leaders of the local resources is like, hey, let's why not us? Till they start thinking like, why not us? I think there's gonna be challenge to